Hello and bonjour everyone, and welcome to Units of the CAF, the series where we dive deep into the storied regiments that make up the Canadian Armed Forces. I'm your host, Mario Gaudet, former Army Reservist and somebody who grew up on Canadian Armed Forces bases chasing history through every parade square. If you've seen our first episode on the RCR, you know we're all about grit, glory, and the unbreakable spirit of our troops. Today, we're heading into the heart of Quebec, for a regiment that's as much a symbol of Francophone pride as it is a powerhouse on the battlefield, the Royal 22e Régiment, known to friends and foes alike as the 22s. This French-speaking infantry unit has been punching over its weight for over a century, from the mud of Flanders to the dust of Afghanistan. We're going to break down their origins, their histories, their battles won, and their cap badge. Stick around and you'll see why Je me souviens is not just a motto. It is a promise kept.
Do you have a unit you want to be featured? Drop it in the comments below!
And now, allons-y with the 22s. Early history and World War I. Let's start at the beginning. It's November 7th, 1914. World War I is raging, and in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, Quebec, a call goes out for French-Canadian volunteers. Up until then, recruitment in Quebec had been tepid. Many felt the war was Europe's, not theirs. But Lieutenant Colonel Frédéric Gaudet, and yes, that's a far distant relative of mine, and I'm proud to carry the name, well, he steps up, and he raises the 22nd Battalion, Canadian Expeditionary Force, the first all-French-speaking unit in the CEF. No more serving under English officers barking orders that we couldn't understand. This was for the inhabitants of Quebec, the sons of farmers and fishermen who wanted to fight as Canadians, in their own tongue. By June 1915, they're overseas, the 22, which is the number 22 in French, earning their nickname, 22s, from British Tommies who couldn't pronounce it. They train in England, then hit the trenches of France, from Mount Sorel in 1916 to the Hell of the Somme. These men proved doubters wrong. At Flers-Courcelette, they captured German positions under withering fire. Vimy Ridge in 1917? The 22s stormed the heights, bayonets fixed, shouting Vive la Canada. Passchendaele's mud claims hundreds, but they hold the line. By war's end, they've earned 17 battle honors, lost over 2,000 souls, and amid that carnage, one man stands out as their most decorated hero. Corporal Joseph Kaeble. Picture this. June 9th, 1918, near Neuville-Vitasse. Kaeble's platoon is pinned down by machine guns. Wounded twice already in the head and the leg, he grabs a Lewis gun. He charges alone across 100 yards of no man's land and silences 3 nests, saving his comrades. For that, he earns the Victoria Cross, Canada's highest honor. Kaeble embodies the 22's ethos: fight smart, fight fierce, and never leave a brother behind. He dies months later at the Canal du Nord, but his legacy etched in bronze at the Citadel. The story of the cap badge. Now let's talk symbols. The 22's cap badge, it's a masterpiece of memory. At its heart, Quebec's 1868 coat of arms, a golden shield with a blue cross, lions, and fleur-de-lis flanked by a beaver for Canada and a crown for the king. Why this design? It nods to the War of 1812, perpetuating the Canadian Regiment of Fencible Infantry, those redcoats who defended the Canadas against invasion. Adopted in the 1920s, it's worn with pride, a badge that says, "We're Quebec's sons, but Canada's shield." And etched below, the motto, Je me souviens, I remember. The story is pure poetry. In 1883, Quebec's motto, Je me souviens, recalls the province's dual heritage: French glory, British loyalty. The 22s adopted it in 1925, a vow to never forget the fallen, the fights, or the French-Canadian fire that forged them. It's on their colors and on their goat's collar. In a world that rushes on, it is a stand. We remember, and so we endure. Unique properties of the Royal 22e Regiment's uniforms. Let us linger on the 22's uniforms. the threads that weave their history into every step. As fusiliers with line infantry flair, they blend tradition and function in ways that scream Quebec pride. We'll break it down as such: ceremonial uniforms, everyday DEUs, and combat-ready CAD-PAT. And not to mention the headgear that tops it all off, straight from the Citadel kit rooms where aged glory meets modern edge. First up, ceremonial dress number 1 order, reserved for those heart-pounding parades, state visits, or Remembrance Day stands that make chills run down your spine. Number 1B, full dress, is a blazing scarlet tunic, double-breasted with blue facings on the collar and cuffs, echoing the blue of Quebec skies in the old French regiments. White piping traces the edges like frost on the St. Lawrence, while the trousers are midnight blue with a razor-sharp scarlet stripe down the outer seam, tucked into the gleaming black Wellington boots. Officers add a Sam Brown belt and a sword scabbard, the hilt polished to mirror shine. It's not just cloth, it's a time machine, sustained by the CAF but often topped up from regimental funds for that extra polish. Top it off with the bearskin shako, towering black fur 18 inches tall with a curling scarlet plume that dances like victory flames. Unique to the old Fusiliers and Guards, it's a Citadel staple, chin strap under the lip for full chin-up glare. In 2025, the kit is unchanged, timeless like Je me souviens itself. Shifting gears to the workhorse, standard DEU or number 3 service dress, the rifle green uniform that is the backbone of base life socials, briefings, and branch runs. This is your business suit with bayonets, a single-breasted tunic in that deep environmental green, gold buttons engraved with the regimental badge, paired with matching trousers creased to perfection. Underneath, a crisp dress shirt, rifle green tie knotted military tight, and black Oxfords that click like confidence on tile floors. As of late 2025, it's still the classic rifle green DEU issued via the online catalog at public expense, though whispers say there's a sleeker prototype eyeing the 2026 rollout. World War II-inspired cuts with pleated pockets and belted waists, but the Vandus will hold the line in the current standard until then. And now for the grit, the CAD-PAT operational dress. For when words fail and actions must follow, and for everyday work. This is 2025's Field King, Canada's disruptive pattern and temperate woodland. A 4-color digital mash of olive green, light green, reddish brown, and black pixels that break up silhouettes like a glitch in the Matrix. Although the TW variant is being phased out and replaced with the new multi-terrain pattern, the MT variant sees a 5-color brown and tan dominant digital pattern with green and black that hides a distinctive maple leaf among the pixels. These are loose-fitting shirts and trousers with reinforced elbows and knees and Velcro sections for name tapes, Canadian flags, and identifying patches. Add the lightweight Gore-Tex parka for Valcartier's downpours, fleece liners for cold snaps, and rain suits for soggy patrols. Topping it all, headwear that tells the tale without a word. The beret is the everyday hero. Rifle green wool shaped to hug the skull with the regimental badge Quebec arms and crown centered over the left eye. Flash pulled tight to the right for that jaunty tilt. It's the Universal Army head cover since 1968. Scarlet berets are only for MPs. Maroon is for the airborne troops of A Company 3rd Battalion. In CAD-PAT, this lid stays on until safety says swap for a boonie hat, toque, or bucket. For the Vandus and much of the Canadian Armed Forces, the uniform is a legacy that marches on. Rebirth in King George V. World War I ends, and the armistice comes in 1918. The 22nd disbands, but Quebec will not let them fade. In 1920, they are reborn as the 22nd Regiment in the Permanent Active Militia, stationed at the Citadel of Quebec, that star-shaped fortress overlooking the St. Lawrence, built to guard against American invaders. On June 1st, 1921, King George V grants them the Royal Prefix, honoring their valor, and in 1928, Lieutenant Colonel George Vanier, future Governor General, renames them the Royal 22e Régiment, cementing their French identity. They drill, they parade, and their goat mascot, Baptiste, starts chewing uniforms, a tradition that carries on. World War II. Peace is fleeting in the first half of the 20th century. In September 1939, war comes again. The Vandus mobilize fast, shipping out to England in 1940. They train for D-Day, but fate has other plans. It sends them south, first to Sicily in July 1943. Operation Husky. They hit the beaches at Pacino and then push inland through Valguanera and Adrano, outflanking Axis defenses in the brutal Sicilian heat. Into Italy proper, they fight up the Boot. Potenza, the Sanguino River, Cassino's ruins. The Gustav Line tests them. The Hitler Line is where they break through. But it's at Ortona, December 1943, Little Stalingrad, where they shine brightest, house-to-house fighting in snow and rubble against the best German paratroopers. Enter Captain Paul Triquet, their second VC winner. On December 14th, near Casa Berardi, Triquet's company is surrounded. Ammo is low. Casualties are mounting. He rallies his men. Pas de prix pour la retraite. No reward for retreat. Leading from the front, he captures the objective, then holds it against counterattacks. He is wounded, but unbowed. His Victoria Cross citation calls it conspicuous bravery of the highest order. The Vendus earned 15 more battle honors in Italy, then leaped to Northwest Europe in 1945, liberating Apeldoorn just before VE Day. Over 1,100 killed or wounded. Thus is the price of freedom. Korea in Cold War era. Post-war, the Vendus rebuild. NATO duties, UN peacekeeping in the Suez, Cyprus. They're globetrotters now. 1950, Korea, the Forgotten War. The 2nd Battalion rotates in mortar platoons, thundering on Hill 187, infantry holding Kapyong. From 1951 to 1953, all 3 battalions serve, facing human wave attacks and freezing winters. Their most legendary figure, Léo Major. After losing an eye to a grenade in 1944, Major could have sat out Korea. But in 1951, he joins the Vendus as a corporal with the 3rd Battalion. At Hill 355, October 1952, his platoon scouts enemy lines. Spotting a gap, Major leads a daring night raid, silently taking out bunkers, capturing 21 Chinese troops without firing a shot. It is surgical bravery, earning him a U.S. Bronze Star. Major retires a legend, proving that with one eye, this war vet still sees the fight clear. The Cold War sees them in Europe, darting the Iron Curtain. In the 90s in Bosnia and Somalia, blue helmets in the Balkans. Afghanistan. The 21st century tests the Vendus anew. Afghanistan from 2002 to 2014. Battle groups from Valcartier rotate through Kandahar, mentoring the fledgling Afghan forces, hunting the evil Taliban. They endure IEDs, ambushes, and nation building in the Hindu Kush. Heroes emerge, such as Master Corporal Charles-Philippe Michaud of the 2nd Battalion, killed in a 2009 IED strike while protecting his convoy, posthumously honored for his selflessness. Or Corporal Michel Lévesque, whose heart for local kids shone through the dust. And Tommy Saint-Hilaire, who risked life and limb to rescue 2 Afghan civilians, a father and son. The Vendus lost 23 brothers there, but helped prop up a fledgling army and a nation. Today, they're back home. 1st and 3rd Battalions at CFB Valcartier, 2nd at Quebec City Citadel, reserves in Châteauguay and Saint-Hyacinthe, ready for whatever comes. So there you have it, the Royal 22e Régiment, born in fire, tempered in mud, crowned in courage. From Kaeble's charge to Triquet's stand, Major's raid to Michaud's sacrifice, they have remembered, and we will remember them. If the history of the Vendus stirred your soul, hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. If you have an interesting Vendus story, drop it in the comments below to share with the community. Next time, we will cover another unit within the Canadian Armed Forces. Until then, je me souviens, lest we forget, and have a good one, eh?